Friends, welcome to Stamp with Teah. I am Teah Woodward, an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! Located out of Vancouver, Washington in the United States. Today I am going to demonstrate these three cards. This is my normal day to demonstrate later this afternoon, but today I have a medical procedure taking place and I didn't want you to miss out on three more cards this week. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pre-record and let this go live, scheduled later on. So earlier this week, I demonstrated this card using this same bundle and told you that this afternoon I would be going live or demonstrating three more cards. So I'm going to show you. I have varying degrees of difficulty here. This one is one of the simplest. And I love it. And I'm not sure if we can catch on camera or not. I've used Wink of Stella on these ornaments, and so they are quite sparkly. And this is the inside of the card. So here, I've used the bigger greeting on the outside of the card so that you can make more of a note on the inside of the card. On these, both of these, I've used a smaller sentiment on the outside of the card and that bigger sentiment on the inside of the card. I'll show you the stamp set in just a moment. There are actually only 3 sentiments on the card. And this one looks difficult, but it's not. So let me tell you about this, what I'm offering real quick. This is a free class. This is a class where anybody and everybody can watch my demonstration. If you want the kits, you will make a purchase of $25 or more in my online store. The link will be in the description of this video. And then I will send you the kits to make these cards. Now, I can't do any stamping for you, so I can send you this cut label, but you'll have to stamp your own label. 2 of these are stamped bow branches on the back. I can't stamp any of that for you. I cannot stamp these ornaments for you. So for instance, I would send you this card front. You would have to stamp it yourself. You'd have to use your own sentiment, your own background decoration. I will send you a piece of cardstock to stamp, cut your own ornament. Optimally, you would have this stamp set, but if you don't, then you can improvise with what you've got on hand. But I will send you all the cut cardstock and cut and scored cardstock and the gems. Here, I would send you the cut and scored cardstock, the embossed cardstock, this die cut, these die cuts. I would send all of that to you. Well, hi, Linda. Thank you for joining. That's awesome. So that is, and this is the inside of the card. So this is these 2 are more simple. This one is stepped up. So as you can see, I've got some layering going on. I've got quite a bit of layers on the front. That's why these 2 are more simple. And I can't wait to show you how I have put these together. All right. So I am going to start with this card, then I will go to this card, and then I will go to this card. I don't want to start here and then have you get bored with these 2. So I'm gonna build up the anticipation. Take a small drink here. I'm going to show you the dies and the stamp set real quick. Well, first of all, I'll show you that in the in the mini catalog. So if you have that catalog, awesome. If you don't, and you don't already work with a demonstrator, let me know and I'll get one of these out in the mail to you. The stamp set and dies that I'm working with today are on page 27. And here is the stamp set. So you can see it's got the 3 greetings that I mentioned earlier. And then here are the dies. There's quite a few dies. So really fun. Let's see, I guess I could point out, like this cuts out the stamped image, this cuts out a stamped image. So there are several that cut out stamped images and then several that don't. All right, several that are detail dies. So I'm gonna go ahead and just move all this aside. I have, like I said, I think I said, I've already cut and die cut everything for today's demonstration, trying to make this be as quick and simple as possible. So our card base is 8.5 by 5.5. It's scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to go ahead and just fold that and burnish it real quick. I have a matte layer that is 4 by 5 1/4. A card front that is 4 by 5 1/4. This is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And then the matte layer on the inside and the message liner on the inside are the exact same measurements. So I am going to bring in a piece of grid paper, my favorite. I love to use the small grid paper. And I am going to bring in shaded spruce and create my bow branches across the top. Let's see if I put that in so that you can see. Here's the host code that we're using this month. Just a few days left in the month. So I'm going to ink that up. And I'm going to do a stamp, and then I'm just going to pick it up and stamp again. So it just adds a little bit of fullness and shading in there. I am then going to rotate this, back it up and rotate it a little bit. Oops, sorry about that. I'm wearing my glasses instead of my contacts. I don't have as good a peripheral vision when I wear my glasses, but that is, got a little runny nose, so I sometimes when I'm wearing my contacts and I have a little, I don't know if you call this a cold. It almost feels more like allergies, but anyway, I just don't like to wear my contacts when I feel like that. I am going to add a branch right here in that upper corner and then fill that in. And let's see, do I have any other empty spots? I see I could add a little something something over here. Instead of using the big branch to do that, I am going to use, there's one little small branch right here. So I'm going to use that. Oh, and evidently I don't have it on a block like I thought I did. Here we go. Get that out. Yeah, just ink that up. And just create just a little bit more fullness right there, and trying to decide if I need it anywhere else. I don't know. I'm kind of happy with that. I think I'm going to leave it. I'm going to wash off my little bow branch here. And I am going to stamp my sentiment next. So on this card, the sentiment is stamped right on the base, or on the card front. And I'm going to use black for that. Memento, said that wrong. And there it is. My sentiment. Ink that up real well. Now the reason I used black for the sentiment this time, you know what I just realized is I'm not using my, usually with my photopolymer I like to use my piercing mat underneath. It gives me just a little bit better impression. All right. Ah, I'm hitting that again. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Forgive me, y'all. The reason I'm using black for my sentiment is I'm using black to stamp the ornaments before I color them in. And so I wanted to make sure that that black kind of blended throughout the image. I'm gonna wash that off. And I will be using that again in both other cards. Okay, before I do anything else on the front of this, I'm gonna go ahead and stamp my branches that are gonna be on the inside message liner, and that way I can clean off that stamp and set it aside. Let's see. And there it is. Should have done it when I already had the other, when I was stamping the other, but I got excited about moving on. Okay, I'm just going to use, scoot this up a little bit. I'm going to use just a couple of those branches. I want to leave enough room to write, oh, and I can do a little stamp off there. Leave enough room to write a nice message. There we go. So now the message liner is all done, and I can clean off this stamp and set it aside. We will be using it on the third card. Done with the shaded spruce. Doesn't that, I love how that stamps off so beautifully. Okay, I can set this aside. I'll adhere those together shortly. Next, I am going to take a piece of scrap paper, and I've selected this ornament. There are 3 stamped image ornaments. So we've got 3 different shapes. I really liked this one. So I am going to grab right in front of me. It always is, right? The thing that you can't find is right in front of you. The reason you can't find it is you're looking too hard, or I'm looking too hard. And I'm going to stamp 1, 2, 3. And close up my black. Now, I have actually already stamped and die cut these, but I wanted to show you how I line up my dies. I don't have a magnet sheet for my cut and emboss machine. So I take my die and my, again, it's probably right in front of me. I use Post-it tape. Oh, yep, there it is. It was sitting on top of my cut and emboss machine. So I just take a little piece of cut and emboss, or Post-it tape. Have you seen this? It's pretty awesome. It's just the sticky stuff from like a Post-it note. And then I line it up and I line it up at the bottom. I look at the bow, and then see there's a dot right there. I'm going to shift this over until I see, I'm not sure if you can see it this far away, and I'm sorry that I don't have an adjustable arm for my camera. But the end of the string right there shows up in that dot. So then I make sure, let's see, there we go. I just make sure everything is still lined up. I hold that down with my Post-it tape. I run it through, and then after I've run it through, I can lift that right out and use it again on the next one. And you can just reuse the same piece of tape. Sometimes I can use these like 5 or 6 times before they start to wear out. So that was one little tip I wanted to share with you. I just order that on, and I have no idea if there's any other brand of this or not. I'm not sponsoring, or they're not sponsoring me, but wanted you to know how to use that. All right, so I'm going to get out my 3 little ornaments that I said were already stamped and die cut. I am going to use my Stampin' Blends to color these. I'm going to use light smoky slate, the bullet tip. There's a bullet tip and there's a brush tip. I'm going to use the bullet tip to color just that little, you know, the little metal ring that's usually at the top of an ornament. They can be gold or they can be silver. I'm making mine silver or gray. And then I'm taking my Real Red Stampin' Blends, and I'm just going to use the dark, and I am going to use the bullet tip, and this goes fast. And I'm just going to color in. I'm not even trying to shade or anything like that. I'm just coloring in kind of a candy cane-ish stripe, red and white swirl. And I'm doing all 3 of them the same. I love the shaded spruce and Real Red together. Well, I love Real Red with everything. Red is one of my favorite colors. All right. Next, I am going to add some Wink of Stella. So Wink of Stella, I believe is alcohol based, and it has some glitter. Let's see if you can see. No, the camera's not going to focus on it. You can actually see the glitter right in here. And I'm just going to do this entire ball, or the entire bulb. Just like that. Nice and glittery. We're almost done with card number 1, believe it or not. This one was so simple. All right, next is dimensionals. So I am going to flip these all over. And I'm going to use a small dimensional behind that little printed bow or stamped bow that was on there. And then I'm going to use a regular size dimensional, standard size, behind the ornament. Slide those aside. I am going to go ahead and adhere my card front to my matte layer. I'm really excited to be having my back procedure again. This is round 2. It's in a different area of my back, but it's really needed. I had a really bad back injury on July 5th of 2021, and it has taken, because of the pandemic, I wasn't able to get the medical care that I needed, and so I ended up with a compression spinal injury. I'm going to adhere this layer right to the card base. So with Christmas cards, you know, unless you're only sending out a few, I send out well over 150. You know, you don't want to have to use the expensive postage, you know, for hand canceling, if you can avoid it. So I'm making these, except for the last one, I'm making these pretty flat. Pretty flat. All right. So I'm going to start by positioning the ornament that hangs down by the sentiment. And I'm going to do something about like that. And then I'm going to position the one that'll hang on this side over here. So that's on my right. To be honest, I'm not sure on the video what that is showing like for you. So I'm going to center that like that. Oh, thank you, Linda. Yeah, it was, it's been something else. It affected almost 100% of my vertebrae from top to bottom. It was the reason that, what I was told is this is the same injury that they won't let football players go head to head because they don't want them to have this injury. That's what I ended up with. Anyway. And there we go. There we go. Now I'm going to add some of the red rhinestone basic jewels. So the good news is the pandemic is, I guess we call it slowing down. I don't know. I don't want to get into a political conversation, but I'm now able to get the care that I need. And so I was able to have my first procedure on July 26th of this year. So yes, more than a year after the injury, finally started getting treatment. And then, didn't that turn out so pretty? Look at that. I love it. And now we're going to add the inside, and then we can move on to card number 2. So then, yes, so here we are. And I am so glad to be at this. I am grateful. There are other people that went through worse, and I know that. So I am grateful that if I had to be injured and it had to wait, that I ended up with what I did. But I am really excited for the next steps. All right, here we go. What you see me doing is there was a little ridge from the paper cutter. There was a little curl up of the paper, so I'm going to use my thumbnail just to push it back down. So card number 1. And you could add a bigger bow on here if you wanted to, or, you know, it had, the stamp already had those bows built into the string portion. And I played with tying bows and putting it over the top, and I just felt like it looked messy. And I really liked the long string on there, so I left it. Okay, card number 1, done. bringing in the supplies for card number 2. Clean up my workspace just a little bit. Get these out of the way. Now for this card, I have used the Wintry 3D embossing folder. It comes in a 2-pack. There are these branches and then there are these snowflakes. This is like a must-have. This fills in just so many things. If you're working on a card that doesn't have a designer series paper or something, this is just plain awesome. So when you run this through your embossing machine, see where the black label is here? This side is technically the front of your card, or the front of your cardstock. This is what that would look like. And it's pretty, but for some reason, I really love the back. And so I'm using the back as the front. If you buy the kit, or if you buy the, make a purchase and I send you the kit, you can use whichever side you want. All right, so I have a card base again of 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And I am going to go ahead and burnish that. Now this card has the least amount of layers out of all 3 cards. Okay, so this piece is 3 1/4 by 5 1/2. It's going to, let me get this sample put up here. It actually goes from side to side on the card, and this is a top fold card. So I've got these pieces that are 5 1/2 by 1/2 inch, and that 1/2 inch is mostly covered up. I'm just using, just a little bit is showing there, but I'm using that for adhesive. So I'm going to set this base out of the way. I'm using multi-purpose adhesive. You could use, and I did it again, my glasses keep hitting the camera, I'm sorry. You could use the Stamp and Seal. Okay, so I just got my adhesive really close to that edge. So I'm going to just, whoops, pick that up like that. And it looks like I'm going to have just a little hair hanging over the edge here. I'll trim that off after I've adhered the other one, in case it needs something trimmed too. I'm trying to, there we go. I got that scooched in so that I feel like that's a nice even. And I'll be more careful with my adhesive application this time. And yes, oops. Trying to just, come on, please. There we go. I just needed it to stick enough that I could pick it up with my fingers. There we go. I think that looks pretty even. Grab my paper snips and do just a little trim. Just barely anything there, but oh, that's because it was on the other side. There we go. All right, this is going to be popped up with dimensionals. The card is still very, very flat in spite of me using dimensionals for that. But before I do that, I am going to, let's see, Yes, I am going to wrap some linen thread around. If you've watched me before, you know that I like to use my Scotch tape to adhere it to on the back side. I'm going to position this at about the 1/3 way mark. Yeesh. Going to give this a wrap once, wrap twice, come around to the back, another piece of tape, and paper snip that off. While I have my linen thread here, I'm going to go ahead and just tie a bow. And then I can move the linen thread out of the way. I like to take mine off of, everybody does it different. I like to take mine off of the spool before I tie the bow because there's a twist in, a tension and a twist when it's on the roll. So I like to take it off and tie my bow because it doesn't turn and twist on me as badly. That's my personal preference. And give that a nice little tug. And so my blog will not be probably updated until tomorrow with the product information. I'll put some in the description, but I'm pretty much going straight from this video to my doctor's appointment. So, okay, I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back. I'm going to use a healthy amount. So looking forward to getting my back up and running again so that I can be as active as I'm used to being. My husband and I are just a few months from relocating, and I really want my back up and running for that. Let's see. Don't want to not pull my weight. All right. You've seen me before, or maybe you've seen me before. I like to apply ink to the inside of my embossing folder to do a tone on tone, and it really creates a really nice effect. I didn't do that on this one. I could have. Not sure why I didn't, but this would look really great with that effect as well. Okay, card front. I'm centering this, and remember this is the same width as the card base, and now it's attached. I have a piece of die cut greenery here. Used this die here to create this. I am going to apply a little bit of adhesive on here and then apply it down. And again, let's bring this over. I don't get adhesive on my backdrop here. Let's see, can you see what I'm doing? Yes, you can. So just, oh, I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry. Let's see, I think that's probably pretty good. Just a few small dots. I'm not worried about it not sticking everywhere. I like it to look a little bit lifted. So I'm going to just push that down and hold that for just a minute. And I am straddling that, oops, I am straddling that linen thread, but it's going to be fine. There we go. Now I did pre-die cut my ornaments, and I have them on adhesive sheet. You put adhesive sheet on the back of the cardstock before I ran them through the die cut machine. So these are basically stickers and ready to be just applied. Before I do that, I'm going to just keep moving things around here. I am going to stamp Christmas greetings. Mounting my stamp on the block, I am going to use real red. And let's see, trying to bring this a little forward so that maybe I don't hit the, oh, I think I might have moved. Nope, I did okay. It's a little, okay, it's a little off center, but we're gonna roll with it. Now I'm going to use a punch, and this is the, oh my gosh, did I just forget the name of it? Hold on. Okay, this is the, almost there. Looking it up in the catalog, it's in the annual catalog. It is, I think it's on page 151. Nope. Oh, there it is. It's on page 153. And 152, excuse me. It's called Lovely Labels Pick a Punch. Sorry, this is actually the first time that I'm demonstrating this particular punch. Lovely Labels Pick a Punch. So there's this little more squared off edge or the rounded edge. I kind of like that antique-y, Christmassy looking rounded edge. So I am centering that, turning it around. And that's not centered. Eesh. My goodness. And let's see how close that is. I want to punch that side one more time. Just not sure I can hold on to it if I do. All right. All right, that's closer to centered now. I am going to apply, ooh. My sentiment using dimensionals over the top of this greenery. I'm going to use 3 dimensionals. Oh. And so it's sunny and bright in Vancouver, Washington today. It has been raining cats and dogs for a couple of days. So we're really grateful for the nice weather today. Now I mentioned that I had already put adhesive sheet on the back of these, so I didn't have to apply. I just have to find the edge. And excuse my fingernails, I did a massive chop on them the other day, a little bit too far. And I'm going to bring that down just a little bit. I feel like on my sample card I put that up too high, and that made it so I had to put my bow a little bit higher than I wanted. There we go. About like that. And then I'm going to use a mini glue dot, and well, let's see, where's my tool? Oh, I picked it up when I moved the blends. All right. So I'm just going to create a nice little ball of mini glue dot here, and I am positioning it right on the linen thread. And then bringing in that bow that I already tied and putting it right there. So our card front, oh, nope, I was going to say our card front is done, but it's not. I've got gems I need to put on there. Using the clay end of my Take Your Pick tool to pick up gems with, I just love how easy it makes the process. Let's see, put that there. So now our card front is done. I need to stamp the inside of our card. And all I've done for that is one ornament and the sentiment. Not everybody decorates the inside of their cards, but I like to. Using real red. Let's see if I can do this without hitting the camera again. Nice. And the ornament, I'm going to use garden green. That's the color of the paper that I'm using here. And there we are. This one I did not mat for the inside. So I just need to open this up and adhere this here. And then we will do the stepped up card. There we are, there's our inside. So there is card number 2. And just to show you, there was card number 1, card number 2, and now card number 3. And this is the card we're going to do now. So this one has a lot of layers, but again, I've pre-die cut everything, pre-stamped, well, not pre-stamped, pre-die cut. So there's a little bit of fussy cutting that I need to do, and I chose to do that. While I was live. I guess I could turn this so that my Stampin' Up! Logo is going the right direction, huh? So our card base, which is missing. I'm looking to see if it flipped out somewhere. I appear to really be missing my card base. One moment, my paper is just nearby. Move this out of the way. Super, super quick. I'm just going to cut a piece that is 5.5 inches tall. It's already 8.5 inches wide, and I am going to score it. My score tool just fell out, of course. There we go. Okay. I'm going to score at 4.25. So close that down, put that score tool that's being naughty right back in. There we go. And I am now scored at 4.25. And now we have a card base. Sorry about that detour. I am sure that that's just flipped out somewhere. I have these little tubs that I put my projects in. You know, all pre-set up. And I am guessing that when I was moving things around, it just flipped somewhere. Okay, so I am going to fold this and burnish it. There's our card base now. All right, so we have a few layers to our card front. So we have the card front itself is this white layer that I'm going to stamp. Then it's matted with Poppy Parade, and then it's on top of this additional, like a secondary mat, that I've used these scalloped rectangles. So I'm going to just adhere that down right now, just to get it out of the way. There's so many layers here. I just want to get things out of the way while I can. So let me know where you're watching from. I would love to know. So I'm centering that from side to side and top to bottom. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna just lay that over and give it a nice little squish. The inside, I'm also using one of the stitched rectangles, or scalloped rectangles as a mat layer. Watching from Virginia. Very nice. Thank you. That is awesome. Let's see. Might as well just go ahead and assemble the ornaments. So I've die cut these out of gold foil, and I have adhesive sheet on the back. The ornaments. The bows are also out of gold foil, but there was no need to put adhesive sheet on the back of those because those are applied using a mini glue dot. Now to create this ornament, I'm actually sticking this down over this in color glimmer paper, Parakeet Party, and then the fussy cutting is just me trimming around the ornament, and that's it. So I wanted to show, I didn't cut those yet because I wanted to show you this card was made using this middle section here. And what I have left here is this more white or less green section, or I could cut from the darker green of a brand new sheet. I'm going to go ahead and use up this sheet. I don't like to be wasteful, so I'm going to go ahead and cut from here. I am going to just go ahead, let's see. First of all, I'm just going to cut off this piece right here that I know I don't need. Set that aside. And then I'm going to just peel that off. Let's see, there is another little section there, I think. Maybe not. I'm going to just adhere that down. And I'm just going to go ahead and adhere all three of them and then cut all three of them. Super quick. And I know that not everybody likes fussy cutting. But this, I mean, this is about the least fussy of fussy cutting that you can do. Isn't that slick? Just pull off that backer and you have an instant sticker. Slick, slick, slick. And I guess I could put, let's see, you probably want to see that. There we go. And I am just going to cut these apart for ease. Now, I don't need the glimmer paper behind that circle, so I'm just cutting that off. And just following, not fond of fussy cutting. Yeah, I prefer dies as well. They didn't have a die for the background of this. For the whole ornament. So I really wanted something to show through, and I've seen where other people are using the dies and then filling in all the blank spots, and I'm not a fan of that. I have some arthritis in my hands, and I'm not whining. It's just a fact of life, and some days I can do all that little stuff really, really well, but other days it's a bit difficult. So I found this to be easier in this particular case. But yes, I understand completely about the fussy cutting. Okay, ornament number 1, done. See, that wasn't terrible. And just doing a time check here, making sure. I think I'm making pretty good time for 3 cards. I believe this is the first time I've actually kept my glasses on while I was demonstrating. Never thought about my glasses hitting the camera so much. Sorry about that, everybody. My sweet husband stayed home from work today because I can't drive myself home after my procedure. So he is home in the other room. I'm grateful for him having a job where he could take the time off. Oh, I'm gonna stretch my back for just a second. Okay, back at it. One more ornament to do. And then we can get to assembling. Well, I guess I have to do a little bit of stamping. Little bit of stamping. It's not bad. And in this case, I'm using Granny Apple Green for my branches. So all three cards have used greens, but they're all different. So I had Shaded Spruce on the first card, Garden Green on the second card, and on this card I'm using Granny Apple Green, and this glimmer paper is Parakeet Party. There we go. Ornaments are done. So we're going to stamp on this layer right here. And I'm going to do all my stamping. I'm going to do my stamping for the outside of the card and the inside of the card, and then we will assemble the card. So Granny Apple Green. Let me move that over here. That was a habit I was trying to break, was I always had my ink pad over there and you had to see me cross over. So I'm going to do that, and I see a hair. Let's get that hair out of there. And then I am going to do just a little bit of stamping the other direction. All right, we're going to call that good. I'm going to go ahead and stamp. There's just a little branch that goes on the inside corner. So I'm just going to do, you know what, I just realized, I think on that one, I think I used that small stamp. That's all right. We are going to go with this because that's what I've now done. It's cleaned off into the side. All right, I have a sentiment going on the inside of the card. And then I have a sentiment going on a little circle on the outside of the card. So to go with the Granny Apple Green, I've paired it with Poppy Parade, so a different red. It's a slightly more orangey or yellowish red. And let's see. Ta-da! Very nice. See, and then that will be adhered just like that. And then going to use Boughs of Jolly. And, you know, I have a second circle. This one's okay, but I want to see if I can improve it a little bit. I think I did. So see, the first B is just really kind of squished out. This one's, it's still squishy, but it's not as bad. So I'm going to go with the second one. Now all of our stamping is done. Now it's just a matter of putting all of this together. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere my message liner to my inner mat. So again, these 3 cards, the kits are available for a purchase of $25 or more. You get 2 of each kit with envelopes. Everything is pre-cut and scored. If they're die cuts, then it's die cut as well. So there's our inner card. Going to go ahead and apply this to the mat. I can hear my husband making his lunch in there. I couldn't eat for 8 hours ahead of my procedure, so I bet I get something good for dinner tonight. Actually, all I want are tater tots. How silly is that? They're kind of my comfort food. So I've just adhered that down. Now, before I go any farther, what I'm going to do is I am going to apply, sorry, needed to find it. I have the Simply Elegant trim. It comes in silver and gold. I'm using gold on this project. And let's see. I can take away this sheet, turn these all over, and I'm going to use 3 different lengths of this trim. These are just my little hangers, so no doubt I'm going to have to trim some of this off. I'm going to bring back in that Scotch tape, and I'm just going to use 3 little, okay, come on, 3 little pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tip of my cord and I'm going to wrap it, I'm going to push it through the hole and down towards the back. And then my Scotch tape is going to hold that in place across the back, just like that. And now this is ready to be strung. And another, just a little piece. So from the front, put that cord through the hole, flip it over, and attach it with the tape so that the tape doesn't show. So there's that. Need one more. So cord through the front. Oops. Oh, please don't. Oh, phew. I didn't want it to rip anything. There we go. So now the cords are all attached to the back. I am now going to apply a 2 dimensionals to the back of each one of these ornaments, actually to 2 of the ornaments. So I need to determine one is going to hang flat, the other 2 are going to sit up higher. So these 2 are going to sit up higher. And that's just to show, you know, from front to back kind of look. Okay. Next, I need to determine where my boughs of jolly is going to sit. It's going to sit right in this area here. So I want to make sure that my ornament that hangs the lowest doesn't interrupt that location. So I can see where that needs to be. I'm going to go ahead and peel those backs off of those dimensionals and position. It should have been lower. Let's see if can I still, we got lucky. More down like that. There we go. Okay, I'm going to take a piece of tape, pull that cord up and over the top, trying to keep it straight. So trying to make it look, there we go. And then trim that extra off the back. So that one is positioned. Same thing, I'm going to do that with this ornament. So this one's going to hang right about there. So this one's just a little bit more involved. This kit will include also what you need for these cords. Isn't that pretty? It's really coming along, isn't it? All right, so this one, I'm going to use a couple of, I think I used adhesive on here, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and use adhesive. I'm gonna stick with what I did to begin with. So even though that cord is on there, this will stick down. And smooth that out. I got a little bit excess on there. And this one is hanging quite high. Just really wanted that staggered appearance. I'll grab another piece of tape, last piece of tape. Hope I didn't get that one too high. I guess that one should have been lower. Not everything is going to be exact every time, is it? That's all right. I'm gonna make it work. All right, so next I'm going to I'm gonna pull away some of this debris. I've got all this clipped debris sitting here. Flip that back over, and now we have I want to attach a small ribbon to the bottom of my boughs of jolly. These are going to be pretty long at first, but I will cut them down. Oops, let's make sure. I think that's right. Not quite. Let's do it this way. There we go. Ta-da! And then these are going to be quite short. Oh. Come on. Come on. What happened here? And one more. All right, and that's going to be applied with a dimensional as well. But before I do that, I am going to, before I apply any more to this front, I am going to go ahead and adhere this to the card using dimensionals. Yeah, it's sunshiny today, but I understand it's gonna rain again. We basically, last week, we literally had 80-degree weather, and we dropped 30 degrees, and it's been raining ever since. I'm not complaining. We needed it really, really badly. The wildfires and such. All right, I am just going to center this just like that. My friends, we are super close to done. Okay, and just stretching my back just a little bit. Okay, I am now need 3 mini glue dots that I am going to apply on each one of these ornaments. And I'm going to take a sip of water. One of the things that I am allowed before my procedure, I am, oh, what time is it? Actually, I'm right on the edge of not being able to have any more water either. Oh well. So here, I've just made a little ball, and I am putting it, and let's see if I like that location. I sure do. There we go. That's nice. So the reason I'm making a ball is the full size of the mini glue dot as a flat object is too big for the location that I'm putting it, and it would show. And one more. My fingers are a sight. I got ink all over the place, don't I? Oops. There we go. It's in a better spot now. Third bow. And then each of those bows is going to get one of those red rhinestone basic jewels right in the middle. Sorry, hit the camera again. Right in the middle of the bow. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, friends. Like I said, I'm wearing my glasses today, and I don't have any peripheral vision with my glasses, so I did not anticipate. Okay, hold on a second. I didn't anticipate that particular issue with wearing glasses during a demonstration, so I'm sorry. All right, I just had to fix the loop. I had to peel that off and fix it, and I was trying to not hit the camera again. And one more. All right. Now I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals on the back of this. So I am going to make this, normally I don't make this video published or public until after I've got my blog ready to go, but because I know that I can't do my blog until tomorrow because of what I'm having done this afternoon, I'm going to make it so that This is rewatchable if you need to catch anything that I've done. If you don't want to wait for the blog, I get it. You have until Sunday evening if you want the kits. There's 6 kits, 2 of each of these card designs. You get those for free with a purchase of $25 or more. Sent directly to your home. I pay the shipping, but I don't do any stamped images. There, what do you think? You like it? I hope you do. Okay, we've finished. So here are the 3 cards that we've just made. So we've got this one with the shaded spruce and the ornaments. We have this one with this one is garden green, using the embossing folder and some die cuts. You love them all? Oh, good, I'm so glad. Yay. And then this one is the stepped up card. So these 2 are a little bit more simple. This one's more stepped up. So there we are. We're all done. Thank you for joining me today. Have a wonderful, wonderful day and weekend. Oh, next week I will be focusing on this, on Peace to You. So this is what I will demonstrate on Monday and again on Thursday. All right? So have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Look for details on my social media and on this video. And my hugs to you all. Yes, you're welcome, Linda. Thank you so much. Hugs. Bye.